There is a myth that wealth is about what you see. Mansions, jets, billionaires on magazine covers. But the real power is invisible. It exists in the digital shadows where the world's money is not owned but accounted for. What if I told you that the ledger for nearly all of it, $600 trillion in stocks and bonds, is controlled not by a government or a bank, but by a system so concentrated it might as well be a single family? In the 1970s, Wall Street faced a crisis of paper. Trading was exploding, and the system of physically moving stock certificates was collapsing under its own weight. The back office was drowning. The solution was to dematerialize money itself, to turn every stock, every bond, into a digital entry. And so a handful of utilities were born, not to own assets, but to be the ultimate record keeper, the accountant for capitalism. Today, 3 primary institutions form this hidden plumbing: the Depository Trust and Clearing Corporation in the US, and Euroclear and Clearstream in Europe. Think of them not as banks, but as the centralized digital vault where every transaction is ultimately logged. Here's the magic trick. When you buy a share of Apple through your broker, you don't own a specific identifiable share. What happens? Your broker and the seller's broker report the trade. Instead of a share physically moving, the DTCC simply debits one account in its digital ledger and credits another. It's all internal. The share never leaves the vault. This is the closed system. Over 90% of the time, trades are netted against each other within this system. This creates staggering efficiency, but it also creates staggering concentration. Who are the members with accounts in this vault? The usual giants: BlackRock, Vanguard, Citadel, JP Morgan. They are the family. Not a family by blood, but by interconnected privileged access to the core ledger of the financial universe. And it's global. Euroclear, based in Brussels, holds over 40 trillion euros in assets. It's where the world's dollar-denominated debt outside the US often settles. A Russian bond, a Chinese corporate note, if it's traded internationally, it likely lives here. This gives a few private entities in Brussels and New York a form of soft power that rivals nations. The 2008 crisis was the system's stress test. Lehman Brothers was a giant member of this family. Its collapse threatened to shatter the ledger itself. The system froze. The response? A frantic multi-trillion-dollar bailout to ensure the continuity of this settlement plumbing. The crisis wasn't just about bad mortgages. It was about the failure of the invisible machine that records all wealth. The lesson learned by the powerful wasn't to decentralize the system, but to reinforce it. This is where theory becomes raw power. In 2022, following the invasion of Ukraine, Euroclear froze roughly 200 billion euros in Russian central bank assets. With a click, a private entity in Belgium immobilized the wealth of a superpower. This wasn't a military action, it was a ledger action. It proved that the true custodians of global capital are these neutral-seeming utilities. They have become the weaponizers of finance itself. For you, the investor, this means your ownership is ultimately derivative. You have a claim through a chain of intermediaries that ends at this private ledger. Its stability is your stability. Its rules are your rules, and you have no say in them. So, is there a single family? In a literal sense, no. But in terms of function and concentrated power, the answer is yes. A tiny interconnected cadre of institutions and the utilities they control form the de facto family that operates the ledger of modern capitalism. They don't own the $600 trillion. They control the record of who owns it. And in a digital world, the record is reality. What happens when the ledger itself becomes the ultimate political weapon? The comment section is open.